Thanks to life-saving technology, a baby girl in Georgia is getting the support she needs to fight for her life. Advances in neonatal care are helping more and more premature babies survive. EWTN reporter Roselle Reyes shares the stories of twins born at 24 weeks old who are now thriving, and baby Mary, who is still fighting for her life.
Our hope is that obviously she comes home healthy and happy, and that we can dedicate her to Mary, because that's why we named her Mary.
Mary Faustina was born on October 19 when she was only 23 weeks old. Tiny and fragile, she weighed a little more than a pound.
She is a fighter. The NICU nurses always talk about how feisty she is every time they go in there to do any procedure, even to check on, her heart rate. She's like grabbing them and like trying to help them.
Parents Sandra and Dennis Dillenschneider had been praying for a baby for years. They had their 9-year-old son Alex in 2015, and since then, Sandra has had multiple miscarriages. Due to a medical condition, it is difficult for Sandra to carry a baby full term. While Sandra was grieving the loss of her babies, she discovered Christ through the Catholic Church.
There was a lot going on, and I just felt the call. I needed God. And so I told him that I wanted to go back to church.
In 2023, their prayers were answered. They were expecting once again.
When we found out we were pregnant with Mary, we were very elated. And it was a wonderful pregnancy.
Absolutely.
And then at 19 weeks, your water broke too early. And Sandy was admitted to the hospital you were there for about 4 weeks.
Yeah, at least a month.
Yeah. And then Mary came because there was no stopping it at that point.
She was 23 weeks and 6 days.
Doctors were able to resuscitate baby Mary Faustina after their second attempt. Since then, she has been in the neonatal intensive care unit, or NICU, in a hospital in Georgia, fighting for her life, while her parents and big brother continue to pray for her. When babies like Mary Faustina are born at 23 weeks, almost every organ is immature, with the lungs and the brain being among the systems most at risk.
Here at Mercy Hospital, we have taken care of 11 babies in the last 2 years that are 23 weeks and below.
Dr. Amy Yen, a neonatologist at Mercy Hospital, explains that 1 week of gestation, or the process of a baby's development while inside the mother's womb, significantly affects the baby's odds of survival.
Every week makes a big difference if you can stay pregnant as far as the complications with their infant. A baby born at 22 weeks has different survival and comorbidity problems than a 23-week or 24 weeks. So seeking that prenatal care is very important to try to prolong your pregnancy as best as possible, and also to get those antenatal steroids in and other measures to try to give the babies the best chance of a good outcome.
Advances in medicine and technology throughout the years have helped some premature babies survive and overcome health challenges. According to a new study conducted by a University of Rochester Medical Center researcher, the survival rates of extremely preterm babies has increased significantly in the past decade. Survival among actively treated infants was 30% at 22 weeks and 55.8% at 23 weeks.
When I was in fellowship, 24 weeks was kind of the limit, maybe 23 weeks. But those numbers are decreasing, and 22 weeks is now more of the limit of viability than what it was even 15 years ago. So there's a better chance of a good outcome.
Meet 19-year-old twins Nora and Conley Rohal. Walking miracles, as their mother Anne calls them. Both were born at 24 weeks, back when the medical community believed that a baby born before 26 weeks of gestation was unlikely to survive.
Conley was 1 pound and 1 ounce, and Nora was 1 pound and 5 ounces. And they were, we could hold them in the palm of our hands. So it's been quite a journey.
When Anne was 18 weeks pregnant with the twins, she found out she had a rare condition called twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome.
The babies share a placenta, and there's a blood vessel that's irregular, and it causes too much fluid in utero to go to one baby, so that was Nora, and then no fluid for Conley.
Doctors recommended to terminate the pregnancy, as this rare condition is not only life-threatening to her twins, but to Anne as well. Ultimately, Anne chose life. Despite the pain and the risk, Anne did everything in her will to keep her pregnancy. After being admitted to the hospital for almost a month, Anne delivered the twins at 24 weeks.
I remember thinking that there's no way that these babies at 24 weeks will, be crying or, that they're going to have to be resuscitated. And I remember both of them cried.
The twins stayed in the NICU for 4 months before they were able to go home. While in the hospital, Anne received a lot of spiritual support. There were countless prayer groups for the twins and one particular sister who Anne can never forget.
She was part of the diocese mission at Fairfax Hospital. And when I came down, she was just sitting there quietly praying by their isolates, and she'd gotten permission to put rosaries. They had to sterilize them and put them inside their beds. And she was a spitfire. She was just like, don't feel sorry for yourself. These babies are here. You've got to fight. And I remember her saying when we knew the outcome was going to be good, she's like, you need to tell your story.
For the next 5 years, Nora and Conley were in and out of the hospital for different medical conditions.
I remember saying, I'm not afraid of disability, and I don't want, that's not a reason to me to talk about quality of life. They're here and they were fighting.
Now, at 19 years old, both have recently graduated from high school and are attending college.
It's their story, but they're so humble. They don't feel sorry for themselves, right? They're just like, yeah, let's get over that story.
Conley and I, we love each other very, very much, but we've gone through stages where we quarrel and sometimes we don't get along, but then some days we're just the best of friends.
For both mothers, Sandra and Anne, their faith was the beacon of light through their darkest times.
And then I look at them and I just think, what if somebody hadn't had the advice or the guidance or the support spiritually that I had?
We know that even though these awful things had happened to us and we go through these trials, we know that God can turn something good out of it.
Yes.
Roselle Reyes, EWTN, Pro-Life Weekly.
Through her experience with the twins, Anne, who is also a healthcare attorney, continues to advocate for patients. Sandra and her husband started a grief support group ministry at their parish in Lithia Springs, Georgia.